Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here, I have already uploaded my total project to the this repository. That means into the GitHub. Okay, so then now we can actually access all that file from to this position. So it's perfect. So now I close it. So now for our this project, I want to create one of the setup management. So into the setup management, we will need to add that student class, student chief, year, and the group. So that will be very much easy process. Here I want to create one of the code application for every part. Okay. So step by step, I will show you. Like first of all, that will be very easy. Actually, that will be just simple one of the code application. And here you can see there is actually our project. So right now that is our sidebar. Okay, so into the sidebar area I want to create another new menu. So if you go there, so that is our first menu, and that is our another one, and that is the another one. So better I want to copy it. Okay, I copy it, and after that here I want to paste it. So I simply paste it. So here I want to create another prefix for the setup. Okay, so that will be actually the setup management. I name it as a setup management. Okay, so that will be as a setup management. So into the setup management, I want to create some of the routes. So first of all, here our menu will be as a student class. So it's a very easy process. Actually only one field will be needed, and here that we have to create one of the route for this, and that is our setup management, right? So now I want to create one of the another route part. If you go to our web, so into the web area, so that is actually our another prefix as a profile. So now I want to copy it. Okay, I copy it, and here I want to create another one. I simply paste it. So here I want to create another prefix for the setups. So I name it as a setups. Okay, so this type of one of the prefix I want to create. So right now we don't need this. I remove it. Step by step we will add it. So that is our setups prefix. And now also here I have already discussed about that things with you. When you actually redirected to when your prefix will be as a setups, then our this class will be activated as active class, right? And rather than it will be as empty, right? And now I have created our that is menu as a setup management, and that is our link menu as a student class. So I want to create one of the route for this. So here I want to create one of the route for this as a student and then class. So that is will be our route as a student class and then view. So we have to create this route. So I copy it and now go to our web route. So that will be as a setups, and then I name it that will be as a student class view. So here I want to update this part. It will be as a student and then class and then view. Okay, so that will be our URL. And also I want to create another controller. We will need another model, and also we'll need another migration file. So now let's create all that file. So here that is our main project. I want to right now our server is now running. So I want to add another one as a CMD. And now I want to create one of the controller. So I name it as a PHP artisan, and then make controller. And now I want to create one of the controller in our if you go to our project, into the project you can see there is a app, and here in our HTTP that is our backend, right? So into the backend I want to create another folder for our setup, because that will be one of the large project, friends. So for the large project, better when you actually segment everything with very organizedly, then it will be very much helpful. Okay, so for the reasons here I created another folder as a setup. So that will be another folder. So into the backend folder I have created another folder as a setup, and into the setup related every controller I want to save on here. Okay, so for the reasons I want to add that first of all into the backend folder, and then the setup folder, and here I want to create one of the controller as a student class controller. So this type of one of the controller I want to create. So now if you click as a enter, and you can see our controller is now successfully created. And now I want to also create one of the models. So before when I install that Laravel, we get by default one of the model as a user model. So in this project I want to use that eloquent ORM. So if you want to working with this eloquent ORM, here we have to create one of the model, right? So now I want to create one of the model as a PHP artisan, and then make model. and I want to create one of the model name, whatever you want. So right now I make it as a better student class. Okay, this type of one of the model I want to create, and also I want to create one of the migrations file. So that will be as m. Okay, so that means that's -m. So now it will be created one of the model as a student class, and also it will be created one of the migrations table file. So now if you click as a enter, now you can see our model is successfully created, and also it's now created another table as a student class, right? So now if you go to our model, that means into the model, here you can see it's now created one of the model as a student class. And also if you go to our database, into the database there is a migration, and here I have created one of the new one. And that will be as a student class. So that will be one of the database table. And so for the student class, I only need one field. So that will be very much easy, one of the process, friends. So here I simply add one of the field. I just simply name it as a just name. Okay. And also this name I want to make it will be as a unique. So that will be as a unique. Perfect. And then I make it as a string. So that will be as a string, and I name this field as a name, and that will be as a unique. So now I want to migrate it. Click as a save all, and now after this here I want to migrate as a PHP artisan, and then migrate. Now click as a enter. Now you can see it's now successfully migrate our database table. So now if you go to our database, and to the database, if you now click as a refresh, now you can see there is a new table is added as a student classes. So into the student class there is only one field as a name, so that will be enough for me. So now I want to work so right now we don't need this. So here I have created one of the routes. So there is a student class view, and there is our web route, and there is our URL. And now I have also created one of the controller. So here we have to use this controller in particular that area, right? So that will be in our setups, and that is our student class controller. So here we have to use it. So that will be our name path. So now go to our web route. So that is a pretty much simple process here we have to use. So I just simply use it, and that is our name path. And after that I have created one of the controllers. So that is our controller name as a student controller, right? So that is our student controller. That means right now there is app, HTTP, controllers folder, backend folder, setups folder, backends, and you can see setup folder. And here I have created this controller as a student class controller. So now I simply load it. So that will be our student class controller. And here I want to create one of the method. And I want to create one of the method as a view student. Okay, so that will be as a view student. So this type of one of the method I want to create. So now copy it, and that will be as a get method. So now in our student class controller, here I want to create this method. Now go there, and after this I simply make it as a public, and then function, and then our method name. So that is our method, right, friend? And also I have created one of the model. So if you go to our model, into the model area, so that is actually I have created as a student class. So that is actually our name path. So I have to also take it. So because of all here I want to use that eloquent ORM, so we have to use this model, right? So into this model area I have created one of the model. So that is our student class model. So right now we don't need this. Here I simply load our student class model, right? So that is our app and models folder. That is our app and then models folder, and that is our student class model. So right now with this student class model we get all that our data, and we can insert this data, we can update it, right? Everything will do that work with using this model. Okay, so now first of all I want to get all the data. So that means right now that is totally empty, but here I want to get all the data. So if you want to get this data, first of all here I want to make it as a, I take one of the variable as a data. Okay, and then also here I want to add one of the variable name as all data. I name it as all data. Okay, and then I want to use our model. That means that is our student model. So now with this student model class, so here I want to get all the data. So I simply get all the data, and after that I return one of the view page. That means the return and then view, and return view in our, if you go to our view, into the view area, so that is our resources, into the admin, and that is our backend, right? So into the backend, I want to create one of the new folder. Okay, I create one of the new folder and I just name it as a setup. So this type of one of the folder, and into the setup folder area for our student class, I want to create another folder. There is another folder, and I just name it as a student underscore class. Okay, so this type of one of the folder. That means in our backend, I have created setup, and there is a student class folder, and here I want to create another file, and I just click as a save as, and I just name it as a view underscore class. So this type of one of the file I want to create as a view class, and then blade.php. Perfect. So that will be our list page, right friend? So here I get all the data. So right now I'm going to actually visible it. That is the return view, and into our backend folder. Into the backend folder, I have created as a setup, and then student class, student underscore class, and here I have created one of the file as a view underscore class, right? And then I have to pass this data. That means that is actually our variable data. So now I want to pass it. Okay, so here I simply pass this data. I hope it's very much clear to you, friends. So I have get all the data with our student class, and I just take the things with this variable, and that is our data. That here I take it with this array. So now that is our return view. Into the backend folder, I have created another folder as a setup folder, and there is a student class, and here I have created one of the file as a view underscore class. So that is our view underscore class, right? So I get all the data and pass it in our this page. That means into the view class page. So now we have to design our this view class page, right? So that is our view class. So that will be what? That will be one of the list page. And if you go to our project, into the project, if you go to that view user, it will be just like this type of one of the list page, right? So better I want to copy everything from our view. That means in our user, into the user, if you go to that view user, so right now I copy everything from here. I copy it, so that will be as a list page, and here I have also loaded our data table, right? So that is actually, first of all, it's loaded our master, admin master, and the admin, and that will be as a student class list. I name it as a student class, and that will be as a student class list. And also here it will be as a add student class or add class, whatever you want. So right now better I make it as a add student class. This type of one of the button I want to add. Okay. And then for our this table, they have only one field will be needed. That is actually the name, right? So right now we don't need this role, we don't need this email field. Only this two of this field will be enough. One will be one name, there is a serial number, and there is action, right? So right now I pass all the data. I pass all the data with this all data. So here in our view class, I want to for each it. So that is our for each. I want to make it as a all data. And then as key, I make it as a class, okay, or student. And now with this student, first of all, I want to, there is actually our key number, that means a serial number. And here with this student, I want to visible our field name. Our field name, if you go to our database table, so into the database table, that is our field name is only that name, right? So that is our field name as a name. So now I want to use that our name. Perfect. So friend, that's all. So right now we don't need two of this. I simply remove it. So that will be as this one, and then that will be for the edit and the update. So here also we have to pass it. We have to pass that our student class table ID. So that is our another ID, right? That means that is actually our student classes, and that is actually our ID. So here we have to pass it because of all. Also I will discuss about how can edit it and how can delete it. Perfect. So that is our for each. Now it should be loaded. Now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go your project, now click as a refresh. Now you can see, friend, there is another one as a setup management. Into the setup management, I have created another menu as a student class. So now if you click as a student class, yeah, you can see it's now perfectly loaded our student class list. And also here I have used as a setup prefix, right? Now you can see our setup prefix is now activated. and now everything is great. So that is our name and there is our action button. So right now I don't have any data. That means here I don't have any data. I have to insert some of the data. Okay, so here that is actually one of the button as add a student class. So that procedure will be just like that same, friend. I hope you already know what exactly the things you have to do, but for this project, as I told you, I will create this project from the scratch. So which things is needed, everything I want to add one by one. So better I want to continue this process. In our next video, I will complete our add student class. So thanks for watching and I will see you in the next video.